Alright, so this is my 1-year review of my 2016 Toyota Prius. Let's go ahead and take it for a drive. Now, as you can probably tell, so 1-year review, and you can hear that beeping, which means I never got that shut off through the dealer. Reason being is, as annoying as it is, I'm starting to get pretty used to it, and you know, it hasn't been bothering my wife quite as much, and she's not in this very often, so I'm not sure how long we'll keep this vehicle, and I wanted to keep it 100% factory spec for the videos. And the point of doing that is these are ownership styled reviews, and I want people to get a good idea of what that entire ownership experience is like. So I can say after 1 full year of driving this, I have averaged 57 miles per gallon. And to put that in perspective, almost all of my driving has been done as a mix of 50% highway and 50% city. So, you know, in summers I'm seeing 70 plus miles per gallon. Winter I'm seeing probably between 40 to 55. It fluctuates a lot depending on climate control. And that's one big issue if you're going to buy this car and you live, you know, in a colder climate, is it really takes a hit more than any other car I've ever owned when you drive this in the cold. Now, every car takes a hit, but this takes a bigger hit, and it's mostly due to the batteries. The warm-up cycle, you take this on a short trip, so now you've been driving about a half mile, and I'm getting 20 miles to the gallon. So if your commute is less than, say, 3 to 5 miles to work or wherever you go, and it's cold out, you're not really going to do all that great. So that's just something to keep in mind. But every vehicle takes a hit. This one just seems to take more of a hit. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're going to purchase this vehicle. Talking more about cold climates and where the Prius struggles a little bit is not necessarily traction, because I'm able to handle the traction that this has. It wasn't really an issue during the winter. My bigger issue is the ground clearance. So I have had cars. I had a Ford Escort, I've had a Volkswagen Jetta, had a Subaru WRX. You know, I've had a lot of cars, and I've never been so low to the ground as I am in this. So ground clearance has been one of my biggest day-to-day issues. If I'm driving down a road like this, and all of a sudden there's a big ice chunk in the road, a lot of times you can't swerve to avoid that. If there's oncoming traffic, you know, you can get in kind of an unsafe situation. I just had this probably about 2 to 3 days ago, and the chunk of ice was right in the middle of the road. I had a car right next to me, and I hit that so hard. And you really don't want to be hitting stuff like that. Between an oil pan that can get damaged, brake lines that can get snipped by doing stuff like that, it's just not good. And I've had that, I'd say, maybe 3 times during the winter, which just, it's kind of unnerving driving it. You really have to look far enough out to make sure you're not going to get into a dangerous situation, which you should always do, but this is, you know, just more so. Let's talk a little bit about space. So this car will work all day long for a family of 4 comfortably. The headroom in this is really, really good, actually. Better than any other car I've ever had besides our minivan that we had. So really fantastic. I did not get the sunroof option on purpose because I wanted that extra headroom. So that's good there. I would say for a family of 5, this is going to be uncomfortable. The back seat is going to get a little crunched for space. It's not going to be comfortable for long trips. This is good in the sense that the battery is under the seat and it doesn't go between. So you have, you know, a flat floor in the back. So at least, you know, it's not terribly uncomfortable, but I wouldn't take this with a family of 5 across the country. Not a chance. So that's something to keep in mind there. I am a man that likes technology, and this is a base model Prius 2, and no added features at all. The only option this one has is the 3M clear protection kit on the front, and I am perfectly satisfied with the features that came on this. Between all the computer screens and everything going on in here, there is enough to keep my interest in this vehicle, even in a base model, which I cannot say that about any other vehicle on the market today. I always have to get at least a mid to upper trim level, to keep my excitement up on a vehicle. So let's talk about problems. And really, there haven't been any. I had one clip that had to be put on as, I didn't even know that it was a recall, but possibly just a technical service bulletin on the emergency brake, where they just had to install a clip. It took 5 minutes and I was out of there. Besides that, the awesome part about this car is the maintenance. Oil changes are every 10,000 miles, and a big part of that is the quality of oil that Toyota uses is superb, but also the engine isn't running all the time. So once the car gets up to temperature, you're in EV mode maybe 25% of the time. So that's 25% of the time your engine does not need to run at all, which is awesome. The one thing that I've kind of changed my mind about is I always said this car was quiet, and it is. In the summer times, it was very quiet for me. EV mode kicks on, even on the highway, EV mode kicks on, and it's pretty quiet. When the winter came along here, it got colder, the engine's running more often, and the car just seems to have more of a buzz to it. When you step on it, it's like that 4-cylinder engine can be a little bit loud. So that's one thing I've kind of changed my mind on over this past year, is the car is a little bit loud for what it is. There's a little road noise. I get a decent amount of noise off of the tires. So at speed, you're kind of hearing that. And, this is a brand new car, so it's not going to get quieter as time goes on. As wheel bearings and different components start to wear, it is going to just get a little bit louder over the years. So, kind of going back to some of the standard features, it has the heated mirrors, which is awesome, and Bluetooth. So, in colder climates, that's pretty essential. The heated mirrors turn on as soon as you put on the defrost, and they work really well. So, if you're going to own this long term and you're going to be in a winter climate, I would suggest getting the winter tires, just for that extra safety. So next thing I want to talk about is depreciation. So I just talked to my local Toyota dealer, and after 1 year, they would buy this exact car back for $17,000. So we paid $24,500. $17,000 is $7,500 depreciation after 1 year. And it seems steep, and it seems steep to me, it still does. But any car that you buy new, the minute you drive that car off the lot, you have lost probably 20% of the value immediately. From there, is the paint scratched? How does the interior look? There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But resale on this has dropped from $24,500 to $17,000. If I were to sell this myself in a private party, I would be looking at about $18,500. So you'd be talking about a $6,000 depreciation. So that's just something hopefully that's useful information for you if you're planning on keeping this short term. Now, as you own it over, the next handful of years, that depreciation curve is going to drop, and it's not going to depreciate as fast. So that's first year hit, and that is to be expected. So they also say that the the demand for these is pretty high, even though gas is low. So, you know, if I were to sell this, it should sell pretty fast. So that's nice. I've had vehicles that have gone the other way on me, and being that this is a hybrid, and you know, EVs as well, after a few years can be sometimes tricky to sell. So the resale value, people want the newest, latest, and greatest battery and technology and all that. So that's why a lot of people go with the lease option on these. The next thing I want to talk about is the paint on this car. I have the black, the kind of pearl metallic black paint, and anybody that knows me knows I am super particular about washing vehicles, and I use a 2-bucket method when I wash. So I've got one bucket with soap, the other one is just a clean bucket of water. So I put the soap on, and then I rinse the wash mitt off in the clean bucket. I also use a foaming gun, so it pulls most of the dirt down before I even touch a mitt to the paint. Even that being said, I have swirl marks and kind of a hazing look on this paint. This has got to be the worst clear coat as far as that's concerned. I wish I would have gone with a lighter colored car. The black has just been impossible, even with the amount of care I've given it. Most of the washes I've done have been touchless entirely, so nothing even touches the paint. So you're talking maybe 4 hand washes over its life over the past year. And I don't even let the dealer wash it. So I'm the only one that has touched this car, and I'm still having that as an issue. So something to be mindful there. I would definitely recommend, you know, if you go with a white or a silver, something like that. Also, resale is better on silver is ranked as the #1 resale color. So, you know, I would definitely be mindful of that. Now, as far as oddities of this car that I didn't know getting into it, I didn't know all the kind of goofy sounds this thing would make. So if you come to a stop, you get that hydraulic brake sound a lot. And it doesn't bother me. I'm so used to it now, I don't even notice it. The other kind of oddity with this is after about 6 hours of shutting the car off, you'll hear almost like a fan spinning outside of the car. And it's some sort of safety thing to get any exhaust gases, not exhaust gases, gasoline gases out of the car. So if it's out of the gas tank or wherever they place that, to just kind of clear out any gas fumes. So just a lot of kind of cool things that you find out over the years, and I've done research, and forums have been very helpful. That's something I would suggest if you're new to hybrids and EVs. Go on the forums. There's a lot of good information out there from people that actually own them and have lived with them. So and that pretty much sums up my review. You know, it's been an awesome car. Would I buy it again? Yeah, I would definitely buy it again. I was a little hesitant getting into it because I've never done this before, but I would definitely do it again. And if you don't need all the bells and whistles for $25,000, this has enough in it to be interesting. There's enough computer screens you can change around, show just the information you want, and it's a fun vehicle. So if you can get away with the size restriction of family 4 or smaller, you would be good to go. So really appreciate you guys watching. I hope this video was informative for you. If you have any questions, please comment below, and I will answer them as soon as I can. Thank you for watching.